Crime Chronics from the most extreme wrestling. And this is your AEW Dynamite review for February 17th, 2021. We got Tony Schiavone, JR, and Excalibur back on commentary here in Jacksonville, Florida. And last night, I was doing my live about this AEW Dynamite review, and my internet, it went down. I had been speaking in the review about power outages in the area, and I was contemplating the possibility of that happening. That did not, but I did lose internet, which is devastating when you're doing a live stream. And yeah, so I'm just going to redo the video right now. We started off the show with Adam minus 30% of his salary, Page, and his tag partner of Big Money, Matt Hardy. They are taking on the tag team of TH2, which did not they did not have their entrance entrance. TH2, they tried their best. However, Page, he comes in for the buckshot lariat, but Matt selfishly tags himself in, and Matt Hardy almost gets himself beat with a crappy, what would they call it, a Phoenix Splash there. Jack Evans in the past, he has missed some big spectacular moves, and that was the case here once again, but with the camera angle, you couldn't really tell so much. Lots of flipping action that you would see from TH2, but they get buckshotted, and with some wonky tagging there at the end, and Matt gets the twist of fate. I mean, this dude was dropped straight on his head, stack of dimes right there. Matt Hardy gets the win. After the match, Matt Hardy is on the microphone. He is putting over Adam Page and how much money they are going to make, because of course, he's excited. Adam Page is turning out to be a good investment. I think anybody could see that. Getting 30% of a big check that's great. You know, if Matt Hardy would have picked somebody else who's not getting paid as much and got 30% of their check, well, yeah, that would not be advisable. But Adam Page, he says, yeah, perhaps maybe you should have read the contract. You're so excited about this whole 30% thing, etc., etc. So they bring out a legal team member, as they're calling him. It is a mascot, is a sports mascot coming out here, and has the contract, which Matt Hardy is presumably has not read. The edited version of this, and he says that at Revolution, as he is reading this contract, that it will be Matt Hardy versus Adam Page. If Matt loses, Adam Page gets 100% of Matt's first quarter or earnings, and Matt, the crowd is starting to chant. They're trying to do their own thing, kind of like we saw with the Miro segment in previous weeks with the wedding, but he expertly keeps them from chanting. See, you can see the difference in Matt Hardy's skill to be able to keep the crowd doing what he wants and prevent them from just doing their own thing just because they want to have fun and doing whatever. So you can see the difference between Miro and Matt Hardy. But Matt here in this segment wants to raise the stakes. He says if Matt wins, he should get 100% of Adam's earnings for that first quarter of 2021. And then Matt throws down $3,700 to beat up Matt Hardy right now. So the mascot, he jumps in on the action. The mask comes off. We find out it is one of Matt Hardy's cronies of Isaiah Cassidy. And with all of this beatdown, the Dark Order, they run down at the direction of -1. Okay, so -1, it's a child, right? And I don't understand, of all the people, like, why not have John Silver be the one directing traffic? I know that they want to incorporate -1, and it's like a cutesy thing to do, I guess. It's like, oh, look, look, it's the kid doing this thing, you know? But, yeah, when important things are going on, you're talking about contract disputes, you know, you're talking about, laws and, paperwork. And then you have this counterattack that's led by a kid in a mask, right? Like it kind of reminds me of, like the Phantom Menace, right? It's for kids, but you know, you get all this politics involved. Now Adam Page, you know, he's in the ring. Alan Angels, he tries to get in the face of Matt Hardy, so he gets his little time to shine. Like, I don't know why they did the camera work like that, like they were about to have like this big feud or something. But Adam goes for the buckshot on Matt and dips out of the ring. So it's gonna happen. Adam Page versus Matt Hardy. That's cool. Now, really, Adam Page should really set some clear, defining lines, for the Dark Order. You know, you got to be like, hey, we're never gonna be together, so quit holding out hope, right? You know, that would be a smart thing to do, but that's not what happens. In the Dark Order, they give the proverbial thumbs up to Adam Page. Okay. Yeah, Marvez, he's interviewing Proud and Powerful as they are getting ready for their match. I don't know if I've blown out my voice or what, but I started losing my voice last night, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? Because I still have to record this review. Oh no. But MJF, he is mad that he hasn't been apologized to from Sammy Guevara and everything that had happened last week. Chris Jericho, he's in full leather garb, pants and all, jacket, all of it. And Jericho also places the blame on Sammy Guevara. Of course, somebody like Chris Jericho is not going to take responsibility for any of this, and he doesn't. And, you know, he's bashing Sammy Guevara for leaving, and it says that Sammy... This is Chris Jericho speaking. Sammy Guevara is basically dead to him, and MJF is snickering in private. That was me laughing, not coughing. We see some highlights of the women's Japanese matches. Their wing of the matches. They are in a room wrestling with the flag on the wall. And when I say highlights, it was like, here's a move they did, and this is them winning. And, oh yeah, so all these things have happened, and I'm sure that they've shown this on the YouTube page, but, yeah, it makes the tournament feel kind of, just, I don't know. It makes the tournament feel not as important when you have to go to YouTube to find it. You know, it wasn't good enough for them to put it on television. And I'm sure that some will argue that, well, you know, that's just as a legitimate source of information. And sure. But the hastiness of the way they explained it made it seem like it wasn't that important. Because it was just like, and all this other stuff happened and this person beat this person. And it's like, at that point, if you're going to dole out information like that, I don't know, like, text on the bottom of the screen is like the level of care that I'm receiving. But maybe people are completely fine with putting tournaments on YouTube. But does it translate to television? I don't know. It just seems a little haphazard. And especially if they're going to have more women's matches on Dynamite, then it makes it feel lopsided. Like, well, we have to show the women's matches from the United States, but the Japanese matches, well, you know, whatever. I get it. They can't just fly everybody out there, but still, the optics of it, you know, that's what I'm talking about. So now let's have a first round women's side. The United States side, it's Serena Deeb. She's the NWA champion versus Riho. We have a lot of wrestling, grappling, near falls, two lighter women in here. I'm curious to see what Jim Cornette says about this, because he complains consistently about Riho, and Serena Deeb I'm sure, he doesn't feel the same way about her, although she is light as well. These are two light women, but they held their own. And yeah, I think if he complains about this, he's tripping. And this match kind of showcases how it doesn't matter your size, you can make it look good, you can make it believable, and they did so. Serena hit a power bomb and a stretch muffler. He gets reversed for a 2. Northern Lights from Riho for 2. Rio goes to the top, drops those 2 feet down into the abdomen. Get a little back and forth with the pin action, but Riho, she steals it, she grabs it, and she advances, and her next opponent will be Thunder Rosa in upcoming weeks. We get a video of Shaq and Jade training, some more fancy camera work, some nice look there. Of course, with everything going on, you can't just have Shaq show up every week, and these video packages, I think it's fine. I feel like Jade is a supreme athlete. That's the vibe I'm getting from that. Next up, we have Orange Cassidy with Chuck Taylor. Chuck Taylor is no longer a butler, but he's still doing very butler-esque things. Tonight, Orange Cassidy is taking on Luther. Chuck takes Orange's jacket, even though he's not a butler, and Luther punts Chuck Taylor out of the ring. Serpentico then dives on Chucky T. Why are they hating on this man so much? As the action spills out onto the floor, Serpentico gets back inside of the ring, and Chucky T hits the awful waffle on Pentago inside of the ring. Orange Cassidy gets the win. Chucky T helps put Orange Cassidy's jacket back on, so he has retained some of his butler tendencies. That's horrifying. I hope that if I had a job like that it didn't just translate into the rest of my life and become a personality trait. We get a recap of the Darby Sting Team Taz from last week, and that prompts Team Taz to come to the ring. It's Taz, Hook, and Cage. And remember that Sting has said that he will be speaking tonight here on Dynamite and giving a response to what happened last week. But Taz beats him to it. He's calling out Sting. The snow begins to fall, and Sting comes to the ring. He's got a bat, and Brian Cage. He's going after Brian Cage, and Hook, he gets hit. Brian Cage then powerbombs Sting in the center of the ring, and I'm asking, where is Darby? Where is Darby Allin? I don't know. Well, I guess he's at a medical facility, perhaps. They didn't really give us an update on that. But last week, he was dragged away in a body bag behind a black SUV. So, that presumably has kept him away. And, yeah, I was fearful of Sting, seeing him getting powerbombed. I was like, I hope he's okay. But if he's going to be having matches, he's going to have to take these kind of things, I suppose, right? I don't know. Powerbomb seems a bit much, but this is just more heat, right? So now Sting getting beat up, Darby's been beat up. All us as fans want to see is for these guys to get some retribution at Revolution. Well, it's before Revolution, right? The match that they're going to have is going to be on a Dynamite, which I think is odd, but I guess a way to get viewers, if I'm remembering that correctly, right? Anyways, Eddie Kingston, he cuts a promo while Butcher Blade and Bunny are behind him. Eddie says the booze and the women just aren't doing it, and he wants to beat Moxley. He needs Moxley in the worst way, and that is in the ring, beating him. Kenny Omega is backstage. No, he's at a school. It looked more like a daycare, and it was weird. It was very stagey because that's not what classrooms look like. There was no like glass panes and stuff like that. Like the teacher, like who was wearing a mask in that segment? Like some of the kids, but the teacher wasn't, the staff wasn't, Kenny Omega wasn't, although I assume that they have, they've already been tested and they're good to go. but it was bizarre because it didn't feel like a real life, or at least not real life at this very moment in time. But what was the point of this segment? Well, Kenny Omega was reading a book to the children. It was the Young Bucks book. He was reading a story to them. And, of course, the kids, they were just like, yay, this is awesome. This is great. Don Callis, he interrupts and ushers Kenny Omega out because they have business to attend to. And they leave Michael Nakazawa to get beat up by the children because apparently that's what kids do. They're bloodthirsty. So next up, we have a AEW tag team championship match. It's Proud and Powerful challenging the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks made this match a little hasty previously, but it's a match that I'm sure a lot of people want to see. It's a match I wanted to see. Proud and Powerful, of course, they have the Inner Circle on their side, minus Sammy Guevara, of course. Santana and Ortiz, good seeing them tagging again. They're matching the speed of the Bucks, tit for tat, that kind of stuff. Kenny Omega is watching backstage at an extreme angle. As he does, AEW, the joke never gets old. You make fun of things WWE does. That's the hot button right there. Hey, in WWE, they watch the television screens from the side, and that's ridiculous. Hey, let's do that literally every week. It'll make it even funnier the 10th time. So, MJF, he is getting a little too hot and bothered on the outside and gets himself ejected. And, we get so many double team maneuvers in here. It's like everyone that they could think of, right? But Matt Jackson gets power bombed into the fan area through chairs and steel and concrete and wrestlers there. He just disappears into he's gone. But Nick, he gets a quick win somehow, even though his brother's out, and it's essentially 2-on-1 at that point. In the Inner Circle, immediately after the match, come back to beat the Bucks. Kenny and the Good Brothers are backstage watching the monitor discussing, oh no, what should we do about this developing story? Really wasting time. And eventually they decide, as the beatdown is continuing on the Young Bucks, that they should tiptoe down to the ring to help. Jericho gets in the face of Young Bucks' father. He was ringside with his wife of 40 years. And the dad pushes Chris Jericho hard, like as hard as he could. And Jericho doesn't fight him, though. They just leave it. So are they going to have more interaction? A revolution? Perhaps. I guess that would make sense. I never like the segments when they bring in somebody's parents. I just think it's ridiculous, and it always looks awkward and wonky to me. But, hey. Okay, well, it's time for a Brandy update. People have been literally just dying to hear from Brandy, and she's got a gender reveal, and she's going to do it live on Dynamite because the reasoning is if she told anybody else or did it anywhere else, that Cody would spill the beans and tell everybody, so she's going to do it on national television. Okay. So she comes to the stage with Cody, and it's revealed with a bunch of purple fireworks that it's a girl. So see, this is how you know it's Cody Rhodes' child. The child hasn't even been born yet, and it's already gotten more pyro than people in WWE, right? Oh, it's ridiculous. But Cody goes to commentary. We're told that Cody will be in a ladder match at Revolution with 5 other people. It's a number 1 contendership match for the TNT Championship. Now we have FTR versus Mike Sydal and Matt Sydal. FTR hitting hard and fast, even for the Sydals, because Sydals are some fast, quick guys. High-flying people. During the match, Cash hits a devastating backbreaker that hurt even me. I don't know why FTR is so angry. Are they mad at Marco Stunt still? It's a Jungle Boy is on their mind. On commentary, Cody is not sweating Shaq whatsoever. Matt Sydal slips on the same turnbuckle that Matt Sydal did on his debut. Dak gets the pin on Mike for the win. After the match, they're not done. They're still angry about Jurassic Express or whatever. And they grab Mike Sampson's medical kit and go to cut Mike Sydal's hair. The lights go out, and on the screen we see Luchasaurus in a pre-recorded video with his dehorn mask. We have Luchasaurus. He's in silhouette, and the mask is dehorned, in view, in focus, in front of the camera. Lights come back on, and Jurassic Express, new mask on Luchasaurus, and all they attack FTR. So good for them. Next week, we'll have Adam Page versus Isaiah Cassidy. More women's tournament matches. Shaq, Jade, Cody. That's going to be happening March 3rd. FTR versus Jurassic Express. Cody in the ladder match. A lot of stuff going on. But for now, we got Jon Moxley because he's going to be talking about tonight's main event. Moxley, he is with the title, the IWGP title. He's without it, actually. I didn't see it. Maybe it was around his waist and they just didn't feel like putting it in view, right? He speaks on the 6-man tag match tonight, and he's going to beat up Eddie Kingston. He'll do it again and again and again, and he'll wrestle in the NWGP. Kenny Omega can't get away. He will settle the score, etc., etc. It is now time for the main event. It's a 6-man match. It's Moxley, Lance Archer, and Rey Fenix versus Eddie Kingston, Butcher, and Blade. Lance is destroying the Blade with his power. Rey Fenix tries to take down Archer, but falls to the floor. Regardless of that, Rey Fenix is freaking impressive. I love his matches, and I wish that the Lucha Bros would just be a tag team that wrestled all the time. But we can't get that right now. Rey, he does his little Eddie Guerrero shoulder thing and hits the frog splash for 2. Moxley gets a submission on Eddie, but he gets broken up. Lance chokeslams Rey into Butcher and Blade and then dives onto them all. Moxley hits the paradigm shift on Eddie Kingston for the win. Are they done now? Are they going to continue having matches against each other? I don't know. Maybe if they become desperate, who knows? Eddie Kingston, all I know about him is he never shuts up. But I will. But speaking of people that don't shut up, we got Don Callis coming out here because the Good Brothers, they grab Moxley. They're holding him. And Kenny Omega, the AEW champion, Kenny Omega, he's on the microphone, and Kenny Omega says that Moxley slipped up in his rematch clause, and he has like it rolled up like it's like a map, like a treasure map. Kenny, in his red boots, says, you know what? You put in this thing that you get a automatic rematch clause. So 2 times in the same night, we get, oh, you didn't read the contract type thing, which it's just, twice in one night seems a little silly. Either way, it's going to happen. And it's there's going to be a stipulation because Kenny Omega, he agrees to this, but he adds in quite the stipulation, a very extreme, possibly the most extreme match that we've seen here in AEW. It's going to be an exploding barbwire death match. And Moxley tries to fight out of being held out by the Good Brothers, but it gets a V trigger from Kenny Omega, and they taunt over him with the title. So that's going to be crazy. We're going to be seeing one insane match. Will this be the end to it all? Will this be the absolute finality between these two people? Perhaps, maybe. But honestly, not too surprised to see a match like this in AEW, judging by the first time they clashed, with the glass and going through a barbed wire bed. And, this is just kind of almost expected in a way. But I'm sure a lot of older school fans are going to be upset about this. Like, they're doing too much. They're going too far. But, you know, the first thing that popped into my head was those old clips from years and decades back where Cactus Jack was doing basically the same thing. And they're fans of that, so I'm sure that that's part of what they're going for. But anyways, that was AEW Dynamite. That was kind of a average episode, I would say. I could feel that there was a lot less people. We didn't have a lot of people where it seemed to be missing from the show, but that is to be expected. But hey, that's wrestling, right? That's AEW Dynamite. I will catch you guys next time.